Hello everybody. Today we are going to be covering a topic of more polynomial type stuff. In the previous lesson you learned how to add and subtract polynomials. However, in this lesson you're going to learn how to multiply them. Okay? Now the tricky thing about multiplication of polynomials is that it takes on two of the main operators, sometimes three. And what I mean by that is, yes, you're going to have to obviously multiply. That's what the lesson is. However, your multiplication problem that we're going to see actually turns into an addition and subtraction problem. So we're going to be seeing a lot of operators happen all in one problem. So one of the things I have written down here that I want you to recall is the following. And this is really, really important before we begin to do these. Okay? And that is for this, when you either multiply or divide, remember guys, that is when the exponents are going to be altered in some sort of way. You're going to have to work with them, touch the exponents as I put here. Okay? Remember, when you multiply, you add the exponents. And when you divide, you subtract the exponents. So please keep that in mind. When we are multiplying today, because that's what we're going to be covering today, you are going to have to touch the exponents. Okay? Now, I also have out here, when you add or subtract, do you touch the exponents? No, do not touch them at all. The only thing that you're going to have to do here is CLT, which I have abbreviated here for combine like terms. That's all you have to do. So again, multiply and divide, yes, you're gonna touch the exponents. Adding and subtracting, you're just going to combine like terms. Okay, again, I wanted to say that in the beginning just so that when we do this lesson, you're not shocked as to what's going on here. Okay? So, how exactly do we do this? Okay, I'm going to show you this by distributing. Now, there are many ways out there to multiply polynomials. This one I'm just more comfortable with. Okay, so let me show you how this is going to work. So I'm going to just start off with an example here to kind of illustrate the idea. Okay, so suppose you have the following. X plus 2, and we're multiplying that by x plus 3. Okay? So to do this, all you're going to do is you're going to distribute. You're going to take this x right here, and you're going to multiply it by both of these terms, the x and the plus 3. And then once you're done with that, then you're going to take the 2, and you're going to multiply it by the x and the 3. Okay? So it's sort of like there's two distributive things going on here. So let's see if we can do this real quick. Okay? And then we'll continue our study here. Alright, so I'm only worried about the x. I'm not even focused on the 2 right now. So I'm going to sort of cover it up here. Okay, so what is x times an x? Okay, now careful what you said here. I'm sure some of you guys were thinking 2x. No. No, no, no. Big sad face on your paper. Okay, x times x means it is x squared. Remember, we're multiplying, so I have to touch the exponents. And when I'm multiplying, I add them. So 1x and 1x gives you 2. So x squared. Okay, and then x times 3 is 3x. Okay, so that's that part. I'm done with the x. Now I need to distribute the 2. Okay, so I'm going to say 2 times x, which is plus 2x, and 2 times 3, which is plus 6. Okay, and then stop right there. Okay, because I've done all the multiplying that I can. Now remember how I said in the beginning, your multiplication problem turns into a, see this down here? An addition. Sometimes you may have some subtraction signs in here. But nevertheless, it turns into an addition or subtraction problem. And what do you do when you add or subtract? That's right, that's why we have it written here, combine like terms. So I'm going to combine the like terms that I can. So I see x squared. Is there anything to combine that with? No, I don't see any other squared terms in here. Okay, but I do see 3x's and 2x's, so that'll give us 5x's. No, it is not 5x squared. It's just 5x. Okay, and then plus 6. And folks, that's it. That is the answer. Okay, so essentially here you're going to do your multiplying, like we did here, distribute. Here's all the distributive items here. And then you take that and you combine like terms, and then you will finish. Okay, so that's kind of the premise as to where this is going. In the next video, we're going to look at several different types of examples and go from there.